Hey everybody, this is a little demo on how to use versionUp with keyboard shortcuts and in FT Toolbar. Now, when you installed versionUp, as I mentioned, or as you probably noticed, there is a folder here with a bunch of non-user interface versions of the script. Now, what these allow you to do is trigger the functions that are used in the script through other means. So for example, FT Toolbar or through custom keyboard shortcuts. So you can install these just by the way you normally install scripts. You don't put them in your script UI panels this time, you just put them straight in your scripts folder. So I will drag those in. Now, for After Effects to see them, you would need to restart After Effects, but for FT Toolbar to see them, you can actually just point straight to them. They don't need to load. Normally they would show up here in scripts, but for FT Toolbar, they don't need to actually be there. They can technically live anywhere. So this was the one I set up. I'm just going to create a new toolbar. And then you can see it just by default created a button. Now I'm going to call this button up. You could assign an icon or anything if you wanted, but for now I'm just going to do up. And then the type is going to be script launcher. And then I'm going to browse my scripts. And I want this to be versionUp no UI up. So it's just the basic versioning up. Then I'm going to create a new button. I'm going to call this down. Actually, it's DWN to keep it short. Again, I'm going to call it script launcher, browse scripts, and this is the one I want. So that's in the simplest way of doing it. That's what you'd get. So if I hit OK, you can see it's already working. So super simple. You can actually you can recreate the functionality I have in my script, where shift click, for example, goes all the way up to the newest version, or all the way down to the oldest version, or option click goes through the letters afterwards, or option shift click brings up settings. You can add all those features, and you would do that. I'm not going to go through all of it, but say you go to up. I'm actually going to reorder these because you'd think up should be first, down should be second. So click on up. I can do active modifiers. So click, it's just doing this, but you can choose any of these other modifiers to do different things. So for example, shift click, it's going to default back to an effect, so you can switch it back to script launcher, browse scripts. This one I'm going to do the going all the way up to the newest version, and that is called up maximum. So open that. Okay. Now you can see if I hold down shift and hit up, it'll go all the way up to version 4, and I haven't implemented it for down, so it doesn't work for down yet. It still goes down by 1. But as you can see, you can use the active modifiers option to add all of those different scripts that I have into the options in these buttons. So that's FT Toolbar. I think that's really cool if you have FT Toolbar integrated into your workflow. I think this is a great way to use it. But what I personally like is being able to just use keyboard shortcuts to trigger these scripts. So again, we're just triggering those scripts. We're not using the UI version of the script. But this is actually a little complex to set up, so bear with me while I try to show you how to do this. So what we're going to do is, let's actually start out by going to your shortcuts file. Now, this is a little buried here. You can see it's in my user folder, library, preferences, Adobe, After Effects, the version of After Effects you're using, and then Adobe After Effects 13.1, etc., shortcuts.txt. So on a PC, this will obviously be a different path, but I will have, hopefully on the screen popping up right about now, you will see a path to where these exist on both a Mac and a PC. So what I'm going to do is open up this file and show you a little bit about how this is going to work, and then it's going to take some setting up, but let's just jump right into it. So this is a file that essentially just has all the different shortcuts in After Effects. So if you want to change anything, you can go in here and actually change any keyboard shortcut you want in After Effects, which is kind of handy. But for now, we just want to add a couple new ones. And you can see if I scroll down, You can either do a search or just scroll down, but execute script menu item 1. So what this is going to do is if you put a shortcut into here, it will actually trigger the first item in the script menu item. Now, I hadn't restarted After Effects, so it's not in here, but let's just to see it. I'm just going to reload After Effects. And then scripts. It's actually down here below your screen, but so the problem you can see here is that the first item in here is this default script that comes with After Effects, and that's not what we want to trigger. And because they're way down here and I have a bunch of other scripts, it's kind of annoying to figure out what number those are. Sorry, they're off the bottom of your screen, but which numbers those are. So the first thing I'm actually going to do is I want my scripts to be like number 1, 2, 3, 4 for the 4 scripts that I'm going to trigger. So the way I'm going to do that is after I've installed these, one thing to note is I'm going to change the name of these, and that'll actually break what I did in FT Toolbar. So you'll want to do this first if you're also using FT Toolbar, but it's kind of a minor note. So I actually want my first one to be up, just normal up. So I'm going to call that 01 underscore versionUp. So what that does, it puts it all the way at the top. And because that list is alphabetical, it means now it will appear at the top. So second, I'm just going to do down, 02 underscore down. And then I'm going to do, let's do 4 of them. So up maximum, 02, sorry, 03. And then down maximum, 04. So you could do it with all of these, but for now I'm just going to do these 4 because it's a little simpler than trying to do them all. So now if I quit and reopen After Effects, now you see there are the 4 scripts I want to trigger in the first, second, third, and fourth slots. Now, as if this wasn't complex enough, on a Mac, there's a bug where this actually isn't the first one. This doesn't get used, so your first script will actually go here. So if we want to trigger this one, 01 versionUp, no UI, up, we'll actually stick that in menu item 2. So that's just weird. I have no explanation there other than just how it works. So as I said, what we can do is just put our keyboard shortcuts in here. Now, one potential problem is that you can end up with conflicts. So what I want to do is Option, spell it right, plus up arrow, which I'm actually not positive, and also that should be a plus. Off the top of my head, I think that's right, but what I can do is scroll all the way up here to the top and see, yep, up arrow is the key that I want to use. So that looks right, so Option up arrow. Then in the second one we want Option down arrow. Then here we want Option plus Shift up arrow. And then for the fourth one, or what it calls the fifth on a Mac, we want Option Shift down arrow. So as I said, the problem with this is there are actually already commands that use these shortcuts, and it isn't necessarily a problem. It's mostly a problem that if we were to use those commands while trying to do something else, we could trigger this. So what I want to do is actually search. I'm going to copy that, do a search for Option up arrow, and you can see it found 8 instances. So in theory, what you'd want to do is replace all of these with something else, but for now, the other thing is you can see it also found command plus Option plus up arrow, and I don't care about those. All I care about is just Option up arrow. So I'm actually going to for now, I'm just going to delete these. Those are fine because there are other things, but that one is not. So again, this is just to avoid conflicts. So that was all of them, so I'm going to do the same thing with down arrow. So there's one that's conflicting. Another one. back to the beginning. So the problem here is that because there are two shortcuts, they aren't necessarily consistent in what order they go in, so I'm actually going to need to search for both this. And in this case, yeah, so I'm going to do that, and I can actually see Option Shift down arrow up there as well. Option Shift up arrow, delete that. And probably up here there's another, I'll find it later. That's fine. So I think that was all of them, but so the problem is that they are actually can be in different orders, so I'll actually want to also search for Shift plus Option rather than just Option plus Shift. So you can see there's an instance of that. And that was the only one. So similarly, I want to do down. So there's actually one of those. Delete that. I probably should have mentioned this at the beginning, but you may want to back up this file before you do this just to be safe. You shouldn't actually really mess anything up. If you want to get back to the defaults, you can just delete the entire file and it will regenerate with the defaults. But especially if you've made changes in the past that you want to make sure don't disappear. If you mess everything up and need to revert, I would back it up first. So I got a little distracted there, so I think I got everything. I'm probably missing something or other, but just be careful and make sure that you don't have conflicts, because that can cause a problem. So I'm going to save this file now and quit After Effects. I'm actually going to save again just to be safe, because I don't know if it does a save of the file when it quits on quit of After Effects. But if I reopen After Effects now, whoops, you see there I did something wrong. Okay, so what actually happened here is I think TextEdit replaced my quote with rather than a dumb quote with a smart quote, which After Effects does not like. So I'm just copying and pasting a different quote in. So that's something to be aware of. It is pretty finicky about that stuff, so be careful. Again, I'm going to quit After Effects, save anyway. So there, I think it was different than After Effects had resaved. So, and now when I open up After Effects again, no error this time. Scripts. You can see how it actually shows the shortcut next to it now. So I load up my demo project. I can now just hold down Option, up arrow, and increment through. So there you have it. I hope you were able to follow that. It is a little complex, but there's also a written instruction in the README file when you downloaded the script. So good luck and have fun.